Welcome to Inspiration Rising. My name is David Trotter, and I'm a transformation coach dedicated to inspiring women and the men who support them to rise up in life, love, and leadership. Well, my guess is that you deal with stress and anxiety at some level in your life. Can I get an amen? Yes. Okay, we all do at some level. I recently heard about a technology called HeartMath that operates off the principle that the rhythm of our heartbeat affects how we think and feel. And learning to shift your heart rhythm can increase your emotional composure and clear thinking while reducing stress and anxiety. Well, today's conversation is with Patton. She's a HeartMath certified practitioner and performance coach who works with athletes, businesses, and individuals to perform at their best on a consistent level. After spending 15 years as a litigation lawyer and deputy judge, she changed her career focus to follow her true passion, which is teaching others to live their best lives and feel awesome. Now, before we jump into this episode, I want to announce a new mini course that just became available called Overcoming Corona Whelm. I mean, let's be honest here, okay? All this social distancing, working from home, educating the kids, and listening to the news is more than overwhelming. It's what I call corona-whelming. Come on now. That's pretty funny. I like it. Now imagine if that constant buzz of anxiety or heaviness or worry was lifted. Imagine what it would feel like if you could embrace your power to make creative, thoughtful decisions about your future. Not only is this possible, but it's exactly what you can expect when you apply the principles that you will learn in this powerful mini course called Overcoming Corona Whelm. It's available at insporising.com/overcoming. That's insporising.com/overcoming. And if you use the coupon code of PEACE50, that's PEACE 50, you'll get $50 off. All right, let's jump into my conversation with Patton. Well, Chris, thanks so much for taking some time to hang with me today. I appreciate it.
I'm so happy to be here, David. Thank you for asking and inviting me.
All right. So you have had a very unique career, 15 years as a judge, as an attorney, a mediator. What was going on in your life where you decided to make a shift into a new career?
Okay. Well, the truth is I practiced law for 15 years, and 8 of those years was as a full-time insurance defense litigator. And I also had 2 small children. And many of your listeners, I'm sure, will identify with working moms. I had a busy, stressful practice, and then I was the mom and the caregiver at home. And after 8 years, I had 2 kids by that time, and I got to the point where honestly, I thought I was going to die. I could just so. My ex-husband and I spoke about it, and he was a very successful lawyer. And so anyway, I ended up retiring, but then I was home for a year and a bit with 2 small children.
Yeah.
After having trained to be, have a career.
High energy attorney, doing it, making it happen. Yeah. Well, big change.
Whatever I was doing, talking to adults. I mean,
yeah.
So I had to do something else. So I went back to work part-time in the courts as what's called a deputy judge. And I was in small claims courts, so the lowest rung of the judiciary. And it was, David, it was great. I worked, 6 days a month, maybe up to 6 days a month. And other than that, and I could talk to adults and use my brain. And then other than that, I was able to raise my children, which meant a lot to me. But after 15 years, you know what? I saw the writing on the wall. And what happened for me was, as I had time and space to breathe, and do a bit of healing, I began learning. That's really when my spiritual journey began, or whatever journey it is. Semantics. I learned a lot of really cool things about life. And so I got to 7 years judging, and things were going on there that I thought, I think I'm done with this. But again, a difficult decision for me to make, because then I was giving up everything I'd worked for a very long time, my Law Society membership and all of that. But at the end of the day, it was the thing for me to do. And I thought, well, I'm going to start a speaking business because I'd been a litigator. I was a courtroom lawyer, and I thought if I had to persuade judges and juries to my way of thinking, I could persuade people, especially with this new information I was learning that I found was interesting and meaningful and relevant and helpful. So I started a speaking business. I start these things. I don't know what I'm doing, but I just jump in and I'm not going to tell you I was busy at first, but it grew. And then what I'm finding, David, is darn it, as I get older, and I'm now 32.
I.
You too? Yes. Well, I feel like I'm 30. I feel like I'm 25 some days. Anyway, but I feel like life is truly when you allow. I never understood what allowing was and surrendering was. I thought those were dumb words. But now that I'm really embracing life and just becoming kind of one with it and just being quiet and watching what happens, life really has your back. And so anyway, things come as they need to. And so my life just kind of blossomed from there.
Yeah. So tell me about this concept called HeartMath that you became interested in. I've seen that with some other people. I have no experience in it. I've watched some of your videos over the last week, but tell me how you became interested in it and what it is for those people who are not, educated on the subject. HeartMath. Again,
I just feel like life has been just kind of keeping me on the straight and narrow. And I started getting emails on my computer from HeartMath. You know how you sign up for something and then a whole bunch of other stuff comes in?
Mm-hmm.
And I always liked what they talked about. And I guess that had been going on for a couple of years. And I started noticing that they were advertising these devices that they sell, the technology, an M-Wave 2 or an Inner Balance. And so in December of 2014, I bought myself an M-Wave 2 because I wanted to know this concept of heart coherence, which I'll explain in a minute. I wanted to know that if I felt heart coherent, was I indeed heart coherent? And so I started using my M-Wave 2, and it turned out that was true.
All right. So you're using all kinds of crazy language here. So let's go back to M-Wave 2, HeartMath, coherence. Oh my goodness. So let's go to the basics of what is HeartMath and what's the technology? Why is it important? Help us understand it.
Sure. And I apologize. I tend to run away with things. So Doc Childry and his wife, Sarah, began HeartMath in 1991. And I believe that he has spent his entire life attempting to alleviate stress in the workplace. He's done lots of other things. There's a lot of research that's been around for over 100 years about vagal tone, heart-brain balance. That's what we're talking about, this new medical field, newish, called neurocardiology. So it's brain-heart balance. And so in 1991, Dr. Childry began HeartMath and began a systematic pumping out research, pristine research that's done in teaching hospitals, universities, independent labs, as well as HeartMath labs. So this is a company that's been operating for quite a while, and they've created tools involving breath and focus. And what's that? That's yoga. We've been doing that for thousands of years, but also understanding how when we can cultivate renewing emotion around our hearts and within us, along with these tools, that we can actually modulate our heart rhythms. So there's a lot to this, but what happens in a stress response, for example, is something happens and your heart takes the first hit. People think the brain is king. Your heart actually is queen. Your heart rhythms change, and then through your afferent nerve signals or your ascending nerve signals, the signals go to the brain one way or the other, and then through your central nervous system down into your body, the rest of your cells get the message. We're upset, we're happy, whatever it is. That's the predominant cascade of emotion that's occurred. You will never outthink your thinking. I shouldn't say never. It's unlikely you'll do it efficiently or with any efficacy. You've got a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. The best way to modulate your neurocircuitry is via the signals from your body, and that is your heart.
So you're suggesting the heart, that we have some sort of experience, challenging, positive, whatever it is.
Yep.
Our heart, and my understanding is the heart begins to beat in a different rate, right?
It's a different pattern. I'll explain that.
Pattern. Okay. And then the signal goes to our brain to be concerned or whatever. And now I'm hearing you say that in order to somehow calm ourselves down, rather than fighting the thought, you're suggesting that we actually get in tune with our heart and somehow slow that down. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So we have a heart rate, and that's the number of beats per minute.
Mm-hmm.
So what's called your heart rate variability. That's the pattern of your heart speeding up and slowing down. And that is a natural, healthy pattern of your heart. Your heart does not beat regularly. There are infinitesimal changes in the number of beats per minute.
That was totally new information for me. When I learned that this past week, I was like, I thought your heart just beat, beat,
yeah.
beat, and then maybe it speeds up, beat, then speed. It's like every single beat, every single heartbeat is slightly milliseconds different.
Exactly. It points something of a second. And so it's the pattern of the speeding up and slowing down that is indicative of long-term health, longevity, and happiness. And so what you want is that sine wave. You want the pattern, an ordered, non-chaotic pattern of speeding up and slowing down. And that indicates heart-brain balance in the body. And there's all kinds of benefits to that. Many of us spend our lives in fight or flight. So we've got an autonomic nervous system, which is connected to our heart. And so we spend a lot of time in the sympathetic side with our foot on the gas. We've got the parasympathetic side with our foot on the brake. And so what we're doing is we're wearing out our car because our foot's heavy on the gas and heavy on the brake. Because we spend a lot of time in perceived stress. We've got over-enlarged amygdalas. We've got overactive patterns looking for danger and living in fear. And it's that perceived stress. There's stress in life. There's no question. You have a car accident. Somebody you love is sick or you're sick. That's real stress. But perceived stress is the stuff that's of worry or regret. That's just the idea of stress. It's not real because it's not in the moment. There's all kinds of reasons we can feel really bad, but there are tools and there's a way to think about this. We can re-regulate our heart rhythms from a chaotic, unbalanced way to a more ordered, rhythmic pattern where everything slows down. We find more balance in your autonomic nervous system. The noise, what stress is excess electrical energy in your nervous system. And that's noise. That's noise in your system, right? Imagine I've said this many times recently and people get it. Imagine trying to write an exam in the New York Stock Exchange, with all the noise and the bells and the stress and the yelling and all this stuff. You can't perform, and just yourselves are in that wartime economy. We're asking ourselves. So, the research that's coming out from everywhere, not just HeartMath, is that stress is at the basis of every illness, every condition,
right,
every morbid condition. So it really behooves us to find a way to deal with that and deal with it as quickly as we can. The other thing that happens is we flush cortisol, adrenaline and histamine, but cortisol is the one that's very caustic to our cells. And in fact, there's research that came out in 2014 that DNA is eating our telomeres. So your telomeres are these little fingers that hang off our DNA. And in stressed people, they're shorter. So we need to take care of business. A lot of health benefits and mental wellness come from this type of HRV training and practice.
Friends, if you're looking for inspiring reading material during your time of physical distancing, I want to encourage you to pick up my new book, Empowered to Rise: The Secret to Embracing Your True Identity, Uncovering Your Superpowers, and Bringing Your Inspiration to the World. I have a special bundle that I've put together for you. Of course, you can buy the book on Amazon, but I've put together a special bundle that includes a signed paperback copy, a deck of My True Identity empowerment cards, and an inspirational magnet. You can get it at insporising.com inspirational.com/bundle. That's insporising.com/bundle. I want to read you one of the Amazon 5-star reviews. This one from my new friend, Bernadette Logue. She's the founder of thedailypositive.com. She writes, "Loved this book. So grateful to David for the inspiration and empowerment he delivers. His manifesto alone is soul-stirring and a brilliant tool for daily intention. I particularly liked the logical pathway provided through the book, which felt so practical to me as well as uplifting. From knowing our true identity and embracing that, to then uncovering our uniqueness and vision, to then bringing that to reality in the world with action. It all made complete sense to my logical left brain self while resonating with my spirituality. A wonderful resource." All right, check it out at insporising.com/bundle. I know that HeartMath sells multiple devices that somehow help you with this. Tell us about the one that you bought and how do you use it?
Sure. It's called the M-Wave 2, and it plugs into your laptop. And there are programs on it. You can watch real time your heart performing and the idea is to practice. So this is your treadmill or your Stairmaster. So the idea is to watch your heart performing as you're using the techniques to bring yourself more into balance. So you're training yourself. Mm-hmm. And of course, as we know with time, because, if you want to lose 30 pounds, it's not going to happen in a week. You want to be fit. It's not a week in the gym. This takes time. You will quiet your system and create better heart-brain balance. So this is as I say, this is your trainer. There are games on it that are more fun to do. It's a biofeedback type.
And so there's a device that connects to your ear. Is that right?
Yep. Connects to your ear. And you plug it into your laptop. Now, the inner balance will connect to your phone, so this is more mobile, but the M-Wave 2 is also very mobile. It doesn't have to connect into your laptop. You can just take this little device around with you, like on the plane or wherever, and you can tell how it lights up. Red is low coherence, blue is medium coherence, and green is high coherence. And that's what you're aiming for, is the higher coherence over time that you can achieve is you're gaining the benefits.
So what does coherence mean?
Coherence is the alignment between your heart, your brain, and your body. And it's the energetic coordination of your hormonal, nervous systems, and immune system. So imagine if no drag on your system, if you're all lined up, you can.
And so the assumption is that if your heart rate variability is high, is that the right word?
Yes.
That then you are more coherent, that all of your systems are functioning together.
Correct.
And I'm trying to understand this.
I know, and you're doing great. You've caught on really quickly. And this is the basis of resilience. This is how you become resilient. That the higher the amplitude of the wave as you're watching, the more you're able to absorb stress and just it rolls off of you. And so I've been doing this since 2014, 5 years. And
do you use this device every day?
Well, I do now. Yes. I've seen the benefits of this practice.
How long do you use it?
Well, 15 minutes.
Okay.
HeartMath says no longer than 15 minutes generally. But I also do, I use one of the games as a visualization technique. And again, it may not be every day. I try every day, but if I've got a meeting at 7:00 in the morning, let's just say that I probably won't do it that day. But yeah, so I take breaks every now and then, but it's been a godsend. It's just helped me immeasurably. And this is what I'm training people to do in my coaching, is they'll get an M-Wave 2 and I train them on it, among other things. I teach them many things, but it's creating. And so here's the idea too. So when we take this beyond HeartMath and we talk about how we're tuning this instrument that is us, we are electromagnetic beings, right? And we feel people before we know them. We feel them before we know them. And we all know this. We all nod. This is your heart field. This is your heart field. So understanding that, premise number one, the heart wave is a very strong carrier wave and it emanates from you and it carries information. So the information of who you are, David, is in between those heartbeats, in the silence. That's who you are. And that's what people feel about you. How many times have you had the experience, for example, when someone has walked into your field and you don't know them, they haven't opened your mouth, but you've got a feeling. It can be like, this person feels awesome for some reason. I really like them. Or you're kind of, I don't know. That's you reading their heart field. And so HeartMath says that when I was trained in 2015, and I think the technology is the same, but I'm not sure. They say we all have a heart field of 3 to 5 feet around us. And it's a torus. This is our energy. It's the torus. And so we asked Dr. Roland McCready, why is it 3 to 5 feet? And he says, could be bigger. It could well be bigger, but that's as far as the instrumentation can tell us. Mm-hmm. So I really got off track there.
No. That's really amazing.
Is it all good? Okay.
Yeah. So heart rate variability is, and this is a bit technical, but I do want to understand it.
Yeah.
Are you wanting, I understand that on the technology, as you're watching it, you're wanting the sine wave to be curved at the bottom and curved at the top, as opposed to kind of this jagged edge.
Right on.
And people can watch, we'll link to one of your videos where you can watch the demonstration. Actually, I'll just put it in the show notes so you can swipe up on your phone or go to the website. But the heart rate variability, you're wanting the variability to be high. What does that mean, high heart rate variability?
So that's when you have the energetic coordination in your body and you have alignment with your heart, your brain, and your body.
Gotcha.
And your emotions and your mental functions. You can now perform. You can now function like your cells are supposed to. You're not in the New York Stock Exchange, right? Mm-hmm. With all the cortisol flushing and all the noise and everything going on.
And the assumption is that if it's going that rounded bottom and rounded top, that then you're in a high heart rate variability.
Yes, and with a large amplitude, correct.
Large amplitude, yes, okay. As opposed, like okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's really good to see it. Now the M wave, it's like it's only a couple $100s, right? This is not like it's not like this really expensive device.
Well, yeah. I don't think. I mean, what depends what you value, right, David? I mean, I value my health greatly, and I bet you a third of my income goes to all of my health initiatives, and so of course, I don't think that's expensive. Somebody who may not value this might look at that way. But again, at the end of the day,
your phone is $1,000. You know what I mean? So like this device for a couple $100 is not that big a deal, you know?
Damn straight. Yeah. Exactly. And again, what is important and how are we going to leverage this life that we're going into, which is just so chaotic and so quick and just so fast paced and really difficult for many people.
You say that this trains you to be more resilient. How does that happen? How, because for somebody who's kind of like just, ignorant about all these things, I'm going, it seems like what you're doing is you're slowing down your heart. That's what it seems like you're doing, like from a non-technical perspective, and you're getting calm and you're feeling calm in that moment. Does the calmness of that 15 minutes carry over to, is this just another way to meditate, Chris? Is this what you're tricking me into? It's like a meditation device.
I am tricky, aren't I? Absolutely. This is meditation. This is a different form of meditation. And I can tell you that Greg Braden and Dr. Joe Dispenza and Dr. Bruce Lipton all talk about HeartMath. It's all part of what they do. And everyone's starting to recognize that it's the physiology we need to deal with. So what is resilience? Resilience is the ability to stay strong through adversity, also able to recover. But HeartMath takes it one step further and says you can create resilience. So what they do is they link it directly to the energy in your body. So they talk about the inner battery or your inner well, whatever you prefer. It's topping that up so that you have something to give. You have the emotional, mental, physical, spiritual resilience to deal with everything with composure, with more clarity, better judgment. And think about it. When you're quiet, you can now hear your intuition. You can now hear your intuition. And when you take this one step further, and if you want to get into the law of attraction, as we tune this instrument to be a higher, finer vibration, because that's what we're doing when we're shedding negativity. We're shedding pain and fear and all of that. We start to attract better things into our life because we're a higher, finer vibration. We are happier. We're healthier. That makes sense, I hope, to most people.
Yeah.
The benefits of this are great. First of all, when you're in coherence, and I can tell you this personally, but it's not just about me, try it. You feel awesome. When you are aligned in your heart, your brain, and your body, you just think about the last time you had, maybe 10 hours of sleep, or you've been paying attention to your nutrition and working out, and you get to that 2-week mark and you just feel invincible. You feel magnanimous. This is how you feel when you are in alignment. Number 2, all of your systems can now function optimally when you've got alignment, less drag in the system, less noise. This is your peacetime economy that you're creating. You have over 200 systems in your body, by the way, that employ this energetic coordination. Pieces of your brain that are supposed to work together in order to think executive functions go offline when we're stressed, especially with the stress that we pile on. Now, here's the other thing that happens is we're so used to being stressed out. We pile one stressful event on the other and we push it down, right? And then we think we're fine because it's not in our face, but we're not fine. Our bodies are still running on that energy, that ramped up energy. And so, really what HeartMath is doing is settling down all the systems, all the organs, all the cells. Everything can work better to do what they're supposed to do.
So I'm assuming once I'm hooked up to this biofeedback device, then there's some sort of, is it an audio training? Is it video that tells me how to breathe or like move my body, or you know what I mean? Like, what do I do in that moment?
Yeah. Number 1, you don't have to have a device. There are these tools you can just do on your own. The device just helps you see your progress.
Right.
Which is a great tool. And
it tracks it over time, which is really cool concept.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. Sorry, David, what was your question? Is it odd? Yes. It's so, you can watch it. In the games, there is a coherent trainer. And so I often put my clients on that one the first time, and it takes you through that. It's telling you how to breathe, in for 5 seconds, out for 5 seconds through your nose, breathe a little more deeply into your chest. And then eventually when you get a pattern going, it's thinking about breathing in and out through your heart. I mean, your heart's close to your lungs. It's not a difficult concept. So when you can start doing that, and as soon as you focus on your heart, it's amazing what happens, David. Honestly, that's where all the good things live, all your renewing emotion and the love that you have and all of that really is heart-based. And anyway, so then when HeartMath takes it one step further, and this is about now conjuring renewing emotion. And so it's the emotional landscaping here is putting the pieces together, like knowing when you're triggered so that you know when to fix something, and then knowing what events in life, what are you doing that brings you these really good feelings, feelings of care and compassion and gratitude and appreciation and tolerance and all that kind of stuff. And when you put all that together, that's when you're training your body. And like anything, if your nutrition is good over a year and you've been fit for over a year, you're now a Ferrari. You're functioning much better. So over time, our bodies rely on patterns. They can be maladaptive or they can be good patterns, but your body quickly grabs onto practices and patterns and whatever it is that you're creating, it wants more of that because that's the comfort level. So you are generally raising your default set point in terms of the trigger.
Yeah, that makes really sense. Yeah.
And how you react to life. Again, it takes time, but if not now, when? If not you, who? Right. So,
right. My wife, our listeners will know my wife is a kindergarten teacher of like 17, 18 years. And one of the huge things that she has begun focus on in the last several years is, regulation within kids, helping them regulate themselves. Because as a kindergartner, 5 years old, they come from different backgrounds. Kids are involved in divorce or custody battles. And, oftentimes those kids are really challenged with their regulation because of the going back and forth between homes and the instability because they're stressed, right? It's what you're saying. They are stressed. And so they're then coming into the classroom and just freaking out, in different ways. And so her big focus is on helping them learn how to regulate their bodies and their emotions. She does singing bowls, in the beginning of her classroom, and she'll, they take time to have a classroom meeting and just short meditation in the morning. When a child is kind of feeling out of control, she will say, would you like to go over to the safe space? Mm-hmm. And so she has a desk where she has all of these kind of, interactive, I hate to say the word toys, but something that could be, you could just mash on it or kind of play with it for a minute. There's a stuffed animal that you could hug, and it's just go there and just find your safe space, relax. It's really going there and just breathing. You know what I mean? The kid just takes a moment out. It's not a timeout, right? So you feel the difference there. You know what I mean? You're in trouble. Go to timeout. Go sit over there. No. This is a safe space. Go and renew your thought. You renew your heart, renew your energy. And it's really transformative. She is like a rock star teaching these techniques in her district.
Amazing.
And
amazing.
She's my greatest teacher on a lot of this stuff. So she's incredible. That's incredible.
Everybody needs to know about your wife and what she's doing. HeartMath has programs like that for kids. Wise Heart, Smart Heart, Wise. I forget what it's called because I don't deal with the little kids. Yeah. So just go to heartmath.org. And they've got programs like that, and they're part of the social emotional learning that's
efforts. Yeah.
Now in Canada too, we're doing a lot of this stuff, and it has to start with kids. They're suffering, and the longer you're in that pattern, I mean, think about how long most of us have been stressed and didn't know that we were, and that's why we have health challenges. If you ask me, there's lots of reasons.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. All right, so. I know one of the things that you do beyond, you do executive coaching, or you have a course on your website, of course, a course, of course. What's the course called? Who would it be helpful for? Tell us more about it.
Sure. It's my elite performance plan. So I call myself a performance coach. And the idea is this, I would love to attract those who have tasted success, who have a work ethic and discipline, and understand, and understand what it takes to move beyond themselves, and maybe are a little tired, maybe hitting a bit of a glass ceiling, just need a little bit of tweaking. These are the people I'd like in my practice because I'm going to push their ass up the mountain. That's how I like to describe it. So it's an 8-session course. I like to do it. I like to coach every 2 weeks because in that time, it's an opportunity to integrate the information, because I hit you with a lot of stuff. Practice the tools. And I make sure I tell people, don't pay me and take this course. Shouldn't be expensive entertainment. This is a way you're going to change your life. So you're going to have to do the work. And so some people have never meditated. There's a lot of people who don't know what that is or have never done that. And so I tell them, right from the word go, you're going to, and I'm going to be on you. I'm not, but I pretend I am.
Sure.
You're going to spend 5 minutes every day and sitting there. And I don't care. You're going to set your phone, and I don't care if you're going to climb out of your body. You're going to sit there because you're creating that container for your new practice, right? Yeah. And eventually you're going to slow the thoughts, because I've gone through this. I mean, I've done this. It's doable. So I talk about a lot of things. I talk about powers. I teach, I'm not a physicist. That would be really funny. But I talk about quantum science and, the double slit experiment and why it is that thoughts become things, because that's our power as human beings. We have many gifts and many characteristics and qualities that we bring to the table. But the one ability that we all have is to create. And that is through thought, but with the heart too. So that first part is learning about your power. Second, I talk about subconscious programming and understand that much of what we think, feel, say, and do comes from the time we were between 5 and 8 years old, depending on the literature. As your wife well knows. So she's breaking those patterns in those little kids. And I love her already. And then I talk about the body. How does our body communicate with us? Based on David Hawkins' work, Power versus Force. He said negative thoughts make me weak, positive thoughts make me strong. And so we do muscle testing. I talk about Dr. Emoto's work with water. I talk about neuroplasticity, and then I get into the last 4 sessions are about HeartMath. So we're learning about what it is, the fact that we link energy with resilience, the physiology of heart coherence. I get into intuition, practical intuition, energetic relations, and it grows into how when we can create a more personal coherence within and around us, we create social coherence. And that goes on to create global coherence. And this is a HeartMath initiative. Mm-hmm. Their global coherence initiative is incredible. The information and the research, we talk about the cosmos and the Schumann resonance in the earth, and the stuff is really quite incredible. So I'm looking for people who are achievers, who are business owners, entrepreneurs, athletes, musicians, anybody who wants that new thing that is going to help them perform as they need to. And it could be anybody. We all have to perform every day.
Absolutely. We all need resilience as well. So, and you're a speaker. So speaking at corporate events and retreats and seminars and workshops and so forth. So if people are interested in either the executive coaching or you as a speaker, they can go to powerwithin.ca because you're in Canada, but you're willing to travel all over the world. Of course.
I am. And
especially
of course,
warm places.
Oh my
warm places.
Oh yeah.
As you know, speaker form. Is it warm or cold where I'm going? It's right on the form.
First question. Yeah. So in the winter, and if you're in the South, please call me. Please. Yes, it's 3 here today, and that's warm. That's 36 for you Americans.
Yes. Thank you. We don't know how to do that. Well, Chris, thank you so much for the introduction to HeartMath. I'm going to learn more about it myself, and we'll
HeartMath.org.
Yep, we'll link to that, HeartMath.org, and of course your website, powerwithin.ca, in our show notes. And if you're listening now, you can just swipe up on your phone and get access to those links. So thank you so much, Chris.
David, this has been a pleasure. Really nice to meet you. All the best to you and your wife. You're doing great work.
If you were inspired by my conversation with Chris today, I want to invite you to take a moment and share it with a friend. Screenshot your phone, text them the image, and tell them to subscribe to the Inspiration Rising podcast on their favorite podcast app. And don't forget to register for the Overcoming Corona Well mini course at insporising.com/overcoming. Now, my hope is that you're being intentional about decreasing your stress and anxiety during this challenging season of life. Even now, I find that if I just place my hand on my heart, you may want to do that too. You can feel your heart beating. Take a big breath in. Let it out. What a privilege it is to be alive right now. You are loved, inspired, and empowered.